off.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Wrestling Memory Grenade, now at episode 190 proper. This is also marks part 2 of the definitive edition of the WrestleMania V review right here on the Grenade. I am Ray Russell, and we have another group of guests on deck this week to get us through the second half of the event, and I'm going to need it. And speaking of it, joining me right now, do not adjust your sets, we're joined by one half of Team OVP. That's the Our Vantage Point podcast for those living under a rock somewhere. This gentleman hosts the show alongside Michael Q. Quinn. Of course, OVP, I believe, now celebrating, I think it's 10th year on the air. And this guy has been there for each and every episode of it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. What is it? Hiya? Is that what you do? Joe Marotta to the WrestleCopia world. Joe, welcome to the Grenade, man. It's a pleasure to have you.
Hello, wrestling fans. Thanks, Ray. Glad to be here. What a crossover we have on our hands here, huh?
Oh, my goodness, yes. But we both dabble in 1980s WWF right now. So I thought it would be really fun to get somebody on here that really enjoys the era. There's a lot of them, but I know, we needed a pinch hitter to kick this episode off. We needed a strong hitter out here to help me navigate through the next couple segments. So I came to you, Joe.
Well, I appreciate that. Here, hey, I'm happy to mop up where I can here. I know we're in the Atlantic City Convention Center. It needs mopping up.
Yes, yeah.
In more ways than one, really.
You got me.
And what a show it's been so far, though. I mean, honestly, the Martel heel turned.
Yes, right. Just happened. That was at the end of the last episode of the Grenade.
Exactly.
Martel. Oh, that loser. You know, I joked that I feel like Martel took the bump. He rolled outside. He saw Tony Gurria, his former partner, on one side. He saw Tito Santana in the ring, and he just decided, I don't need any of this anymore.
He was reminded of that 1981 run with Tony Gurria, 1980, and he was like, I'm not getting involved in this anymore. And Santana trying to ride my coattail, you don't want that.
No more coattails.
No more coattails.
Coattails, indeed. He's going to go off and become a model and do beautiful things.
Yes, of course.
One of my favorite five, there's maybe not, I won't say he's the top 5 wrestler of all time, but my favorite 5 to watch is Rick Martel. He's in that list. So, I'm looking forward to see what happens here moving forward with Mr. Martel. Right now, the OVP show is in the summer of '88, though, and so you've got to witness a guy by the name of Brother Love has now made his debut for you.
Yes, he has. So he's still doing the challenge show as of now, where we are in the show, which is towards the end of August 1988. But we make sure that we get that each and every week. Usually they throw to it from primetime, where Gorilla Monsoon absolutely hates this man, which is like comically hates this man more than anybody else.
Great sound bites in there with Gorilla. Yeah, I love, he loathes Brother Love a little bit more than even Bobby Heenan, I feel like.
Yeah, seriously. Like he'd take a bullet for Bobby, I think, at this point in 1988, but Brother Love he'd throw in front of the gun, man. Like he does not like Brother Love.
No, absolutely not. No. Go get your prosciutto or whatever he's telling you to go to the kitchen and grab. I learned all sorts of new, the gabagool. I learned a lot of new lunch meats here.
There's a lot of good Italian meats,
There are, yeah.
Proud of my people.
I am too. I didn't get this big by accident. So we got a lot of fun this week. But Joe, I really need to do this. But for the 3 people that don't know, please tell them a little bit about OVP, where they can find you, man.
Yeah, so you can find us on X, I believe it's called now, at OVP Podcast. And obviously we do a weekly show that we've been doing for, so just about 10 years now. And what we've been doing for a long time is going week by week, WWF Superstars of Wrestling. It was Championship all the way back in January of 82. Right. We are now, as of press time, at the very tail end, the road to SummerSlam 1988. So the tail end of August of 1988. It's on YouTube, it's actually OVP's 1988 canon. Mm-hmm. And also it's available in audio form, our Vantage Point Retro Wrestling podcast feed. And we do a bunch of specials and stuff like that as well, on our Patreon. But it's a great time just watching it week by week, talking about it with Quinn. It's a fun time. We've learned a lot. We've discovered people we really like that we had no idea that we liked. Tonga Kid being one, and he became Tama. A lot of guys. Very relevant to WrestleMania 5, Tonga Kid. But you know what I mean? There's a lot of people.
No, absolutely. I was a Tama guy.
Yeah, Tama was awesome. So it's a fun time over there if you've never heard it. I'm sure more than 3, right? At least 6 people have never heard of it. And if you guys don't mind checking it out, I'd like that. We do week by week WWF 1988 right now, so it's a fun time.
Yeah, well, you mentioned you learn something new all the time. You're something you've seen before. You learn something. I can say that I've been watching WrestleMania V since 1989. And
Right.
I mean, I would rent it, say, quarterly, growing up. So I saw it a lot. And I'm just doing this right here. When you break it down, Joe, when you sit here and you start nitpicking and picking things apart and really looking at everything, you learn something new. And I've done that a few times here just this time on WrestleMania 5. So you truly do learn something new every time.
You do. And WrestleMania 5, speaking of which, I watched a hell of a lot in the 90s. I was a little young to be able to have seen it live. I was alive, but I wasn't watching wrestling yet.
Right.
But I had the anthology collection, not the anthology, but the box set that came out after the one with 1 to 13. It was the one with 1 to 14. I got the single tape of that, so it was pretty much the pay-per-view broadcast for the most part.
Right. Yeah.
And I watched it a ton in my teen years in the mid and late 90s. So I'm a big fan of WrestleMania 5. I think it has a interesting aesthetic, like 4, and I think that the main event, as you have covered, right, is really well built too. I mean, that's a main event, and the buy rate showed that. I mean, that was a main event.
Yeah, that drew the house, man. I mean, you had a few matches that were pretty solid on the card. I enjoy Rockers and Towers. Rude and Warrior was good for what it was. Yeah. I was a huge Warrior mark. I mean, it was good for what it did, and Rick Martel does the heel turn. So there's some really good stuff coming out of this, but it was Hogan and Savage that sold the house, and they really didn't. I mean, everything else was just, it's what I said the first time I ever got the Coliseum video, Hogan and Savage are on there, but you flip it over, it's like, holy shit, there's 13 more matches and a Piper's Pit. Yeah. I mean, how can you go wrong, right?
It's crazy too, because, WrestleMania 4 always had the stigma of being the long one, but 5 is just as long. I mean, 5 is a long show. Almost 4 hours, just like 4 was.
Yeah, well, I guess they didn't want to do another Hogan pop out or something here at 5. I guess monotonous.
They could have done a Mega Powers pop out or something. That would have been cool.
That would have been fun.
It would have exploded out of the VHS packaging.
There you go. That would have been great. Yeah, a little explosion. I like what you did there. See, you should go back and book that, man. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. Well, Hazel DeVito, where are you?
Yeah, you might. You must have done this a time or two. You're answering my questions before I ask them, and I love that. That is fantastic. Let me tell you, you would appreciate such a thing. As do I. So I know I appreciate that, man. But unfortunately, at this point in the show, we're actually going to get back into WrestleMania 5 now.
Oof, okay.
And just after the Rick Martel heel turn, I left it hot. I was having a good time. I know what's coming here for Rick Martel moving forward. I'm a happy kid again. And then this, and as a kid, I enjoyed this to a degree. Of course, it was on the Coliseum video version, so it was about an hour shorter than what we would get, on the live version here that we've been covering. But in the middle of all of this, before the intermission, well, this is a well-booked show, by the way, the Piper's Pit, the return of Roddy Piper. And again, I needed that power hitter. I needed Joe Marotta for this one. So I appreciate you doing this.
Thank you.
I know you're capable of navigating through these things. I've done it myself, but I literally, I told you off the air that I went through the whole show and I skipped this and I went back and I did this last because I don't even know how I'm going to tackle this.
This is a grind.
It is a job, man. And well, I'm sorry to put you through it, but again, like you said,
the
you'll
segment,
leave me an invoice, right?
Yeah, I'll be invoicing you. The segment is a grind. I mean, from what I understand, this ran overtime, according to Bruce, anyway.
Yeah.
It shows.
And I'll talk to you about that a little bit, too, because I believe it, but I also kind of question it because it seemed like Piper and Morton kind of knew where they were going. But we'll see here as we get going along. It is the return of one Roddy Piper. Piper's Pit, scheduled for WrestleMania. Last seen in a wrestling ring 2 years ago, finishing his farewell match as part of the giant WrestleMania 3 event at the Silverdome. Piper defeated Adrian Adonis, hair versus hair, of course, and off he went into the sunset, off to Hollywood. His first movie considered a financial success, They Live, on a budget of, well, 3 or 4 million I've seen. It pulls in about 13 mil, so I guess that's pretty good. It opens number 1 at the box office, I think, so that means it was either a really slow weekend or Roddy Piper was just that damn cool, man.
Well, he came there to kick ass and chew bubblegum.
That's
all
right,
out of bubblegum.
All out of bubblegum, man. So it's he ran out of bubblegum, so he came back to the World Wrestling Federation. I think that's the story they're telling here. Though we will get another classic on the way. Hell comes to Frogtown.
Yeah.
I saw that. I don't know if it was edited or not. I saw that once on the USA Network in the 1990s. Never again.
The whole movie should have been edited.
Yes, very good. Yeah, I mean, it kind of had like a cool porno premise to a degree, but outside of that, just it was not good. And I was like, I don't think I finished the movie either. I was like, I don't know what this is, and I don't want to know. But I think after that, the writing was on the wall. Roddy Piper sends out feelers. David Wolf was his agent, who was obviously the boyfriend and agent of Cyndi Lauper and et cetera, all that stuff in the backstory. And he sends out some feelers. And according to at least the Observer anyway, there was interest on both sides, both Turner and the World Wrestling Federation. Now, I've seen anywhere from 500 to 750,000 was the offer from the Turner company to get Hot Rod over there. I'm not sure what Vince offered Piper specifically, because the original agreement, my understanding, was just for WrestleMania 5, kind of a comeback, Piper's Pit, test the waters, but we know that's going to develop into a long-term contract.
Yeah, I mean, he initially, when he came back, it didn't seem like he was even coming back for a wrestling role. It didn't seem to be positioned that way. He comes on to primetime soon after. I don't know if you want me to skip ahead, in 89, but that's what happened. Yeah. And even, I really feel like, for the most part, he was a part-time wrestler. I mean, he was mainly just a personality on TV for a lot of that. But he got a sweet deal, much the same way, I guess, when Jesse went Hollywood in 86, right? And basically told Vince to go put something somewhere. And then, came back and basically did things. Jesse seemed to do things on his terms from that point on. I get a bit of that same feeling, maybe not as extreme with Roddy Piper.
Right.
I
I feel like Roddy was working better with Vince than Jesse. I think that was more of an Ebersol thing, too. I think Dick was like, no, we need this guy back. I like Jesse Ventura.
Yeah, well, Ebersol was a huge fan of him. He was, when he first saw Bobby Heenan, I think, on Saturday Night's Main Event, he was like, what the hell is this? He's like, where's Jesse Ventura? Yeah. And no shade to Bobby, obviously. But but I've got that same kind of feeling from Piper, kind of the post-Hollywood, I've done the movie now, and now, he can kind of leverage that a bit. And David Wolf, that's interesting, former manager of the Freebirds as well. Let's not forget. That's
correct. Let's not forget. That's a hiccup in the history of the World Wrestling Federation. He sure did. And,
yes, he did.
Somebody canned him anyway. Depending on who you believe, Andre or whatever the case may have been there. But
I'd like to believe it was Andre. Just the idea of Andre firing somebody. Oh, you're fine. I don't like you, I
don't like you, boss.
I don't like you, Buddy Rogers, whoever you are. But can I say, right, that Piper's, because we've been watching, obviously, every week here with the interview segments, and until Brother Love came in a couple of months ago, there was a void in that heel interview segment with Piper being gone. And his presence has really been missed. Brother Love's great. I mean, he does such a phenomenal job, Bruce does, at portraying this character. But we didn't have anything like that for almost a year and a half, Right. The Snake Pit lingered on a bit, but Jake was a face by then. Yeah. So really, and the Snake Pit was never very good.
The babyface talk shows never really work out for the long term unless the specific guy that's hosting it is going to work an angle like Jake did with Honky,
right?
Or things like that. Outside of that, I never cared much for the babyface. But you're right, there was a void because Piper had done that for so long, several years, 3 years going into WrestleMania, really, and they tried with Missy. That failed miserably. God bless, they tried.
Woo, that was. There's a reason those didn't air. I mean, I'm sure
people wanted them. People were begging for those things to come out of the cannon, and then when they saw them, it's like, well, I'll put them back in that.
Put them back in, please, and put the can somewhere else. It was bad.
That was not how Missy got over, if you know what I mean. So,
no, it is not. We can ask JR about that one. How Missy got over.
Absolutely. Oh, my God, we're live, pal.
We're live. Huh? But yeah, the whole idea of Piper coming back, it is tantalizing in 1989. I'm sure if you're a wrestling fan, because it's like, oh, I know that guy. He was just here a couple years ago. This is a big deal. I'm a wrestling fan for a few years. Or even if you're just a newer fan and you know him from the zeitgeist, from They Live, I guess, right? If nothing else. Kind of a cool deal.
Roddy came at that rock and wrestling era, and all of those guys got over. Mr. T, Cyndi Lauper, blame. You can, credit whoever you want, but that turned the world on to Roddy Piper and Hulk Hogan, obviously, as well. But so people always say, oh, who were you afraid of when you grew up? They say Kamala, or depending on their age, the original Sheik. I was afraid of Roddy Piper. You weren't afraid of Bundy? No, Bundy was a big guy. He was a monster. He would have creamed me. But Piper scared me because you believed. Yeah. I thought he could visibly just go out there and kill somebody. Like, I will shake you. I don't really care, Yeah. So, he was a really badass heel. I mean, he was so cool. And, of course, they had to turn him face.
Yep.
And he goes away and he does the Hollywood thing. He's coming back. And Piper's great on the mic. But he's even better when he's got somebody to roast. And they give him two people here. Yes. I don't know about, I don't think the one was a good idea. And before we get too far into it, I don't want to pass on your comments about Brother Love. I was a big fan of Brother Love as a kid. I understood what he was supposed to be doing. I understood the whole. My grandparents would chuckle when they would walk in the room because they're old like Southern Baptists, from Kentucky, and so they would just kind of get the chuckle because they knew exactly what this shtick was. So they just laugh and laugh. And there was a year where I was supposed to be a werewolf for Halloween around this time frame. My grandmother was not great with the Halloween makeup. So she starts taking the paint and smearing it on me, and then she gets done smearing it, and she just busts out laughing, and she's like, I'm like, what? Like, I'm getting mad because I'm like 8, 9 years old. I'm like, what are you laughing at me for? It's just, you look like that Brother Love guy on the wrestling. She had smeared the paint to where it just was red. So we went with that. Like, we went and got some shit together, and I was Brother Love for Halloween, man.
That's
awesome. It was awesome. It was awesome.
It's a great costume.
Wish I had pictures. Of that one. I think I got a Warrior picture, but I do not have a Brother Love picture. So
that's good. But yeah, man, Brother Love was, excuse me. Brother Love is where, hello, we're live, pal. Brother Love was the new Piper's Pit. I mean, that's the closest thing we had to a Piper's Pit and a worthy successor in terms of generating heel heat and really being antagonistic. And the moments that even by this point in '89 that had happened, like with the Bad News Brown thing had happened, right? That was on Brother Love's show, wasn't it? With favors for Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah, the favors. Yeah,
that was there.
That was
and the Mega Power stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff happened.
The Boss Man beatdown's coming on your show too. Not to spoil for the OVPs out there.
No. But yeah, that's true. The Boss Man thing happens there. And obviously later, the earthquake thing happens in 1990. Yeah. But it really was the new Piper's Pit. It's no wonder they bumped it up to superstars within 4 months. Yeah. I mean, it just makes sense.
They saw what they had there. Yeah. I mean, it was pretty obvious what happened with that. So
don't need Craig and George no more.
And, in the grill, of course, like that piece of garbage is gone from Wrestling Challenge.
Yeah.
And so the Challenge will get these special interview areas. So we'll see how that plays out, But so here we go. Roddy Piper, and they got 2 guests. Brother Love makes sense. He's the current talk show host. He is, quote unquote, replaced Roddy Piper's spot. Piper's going to mention that here in a little bit. And a guy by the name of Morton Downey Jr. And I'm not sure if you've done any digging. I believe you probably have on the history of Morton Downey Jr., but basically he created trash TV. Springer
before Springer.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, he absolutely. I mean, if you go back and watch, Springer might have been a little, he was more polished. They had years to kind of figure it out and everything, but Morton Downey created it. I mean, there was no talk shows before that with the arguing and the back stories and all these silly gimmicks and the fighting, and Morton Downey fit right in. He played it well. And they figured, this is great. We got 3 loudmouths in the ring at the same time. And of course, according to Bruce, like you said, they had put together a script, which was pretty obvious at points because guys were answering questions before a normal human being would have time to process it. And they were coming back with the snide jokes and things. I'm like, you didn't even have time to process the first part of the joke, but okay, whatever. So when they kicked this off, first time I watched it, Fink with the big buildup, ladies and gentlemen, when you, let me see if I took some notes here because so they they build up Roddy Piper, the Hollywood movies, whatever he said, I can't remember now, but the big build up. And when you say Rowdy, there's only one, and then the camera does the long cut down the aisleway, and the curtain raises. They even get a curtain raise, right? Because I love the presentation here. Yep. And you see the legs, and you see the skirt, kilt. Oh, it's debatable. And there he is, Brother Love, with a shit-eating grin, those pearly whites. Brother Love standing there. And I remember the first time I saw this, saying to myself, that motherfucker. Well, I probably didn't say that, but I was thinking, that motherfucker. He planned this shit. Roddy Piper's not even here. He tricked us all. I thought he had snowed us all, and Brother Love makes his way down to ringside. And then we get this awesome, epic interview where Brother Love interviews, quote unquote, Roddy Piper.
Really well done. Bruce's impression is good. I mean, it really is. He's got the cadence down, and the voice is pretty good. And and it's obviously, for anyone that's never seen it, it's intended to insult Roddy Piper, and he's answering like Piper, and Piper worships Brother Love, and all these things, But it really is you can see what they were doing in terms of just pissing off the crowd, who's probably already half pissed off that they're still there at this point in this arena, just waiting for Hogan and Savage, you know what I mean? It's like the second year in a row this show is long, in this dump. And the half of the crowd, or whatever it is, I'm sure right, that was bought already, by the casino, is like, what is this now? Who is this here? Leaning over to a mirror to do something, but
I don't know.
I don't know what you're talking about. But,
exactly.
What they were doing, though, with the Brother Love thing, it's a credit to Bruce, and I always say this on our show, whatever you think of Bruce Pritchard, the human or the executive or whatever, right? The creative guy. As a performer, he's excellent. I mean, he really is an
100%.
excellent performer. That I'll always give him. He really, truly is, and he pulls it off here to the point where the crowd just like, what are you doing? What are we getting here?
Well, it was so funny, too, I don't know if you're familiar with Tom Pritchard's work outside of the WWF, but Tom was a huge fan of doing the
Piper.
The Roddy Piper. Yeah, the Piper voice. So they both, grew up doing that. I don't know if they had Los Angeles when they were in Houston, and, they kind of got it from there, brothers and things of that growing up. But certainly Tom crossed paths with Piper and George as well. But it's funny, too. I remember watching ESPN 89, 90, and Tom Pritchard would do commentary sometimes. And the first time I heard it, I mean, spot on. I was like, is Roddy Piper in Dale? Like, what is this? Yeah, it was insane how good he was at doing the Piper shtick. But yeah, Bruce doing it back here. This is the cool part, I thought. Never in the history of anything I've ever watched tells me in wrestling that a wrestler went out of character, mocked another character prior to this. To see Brother Love, he had one speed up until this point. The slow, I love you, and all of his cadence. And all of a sudden, he gets up and he sits in the other seat, and he's Roddy Piper, and he does a Roddy Piper thing.
Right.
And I was just like, it was so weird to see a wrestler mocking another wrestler by doing their voice, by doing their delivery, and to see a wrestler, we're all trained, they all have one speed, their speed.
Right.
And Brother Love went from this slow Baptist or whatever you want to call, whatever, Book of Love. He's, the Book of Love. And all of a sudden now he's Roddy Piper and he's doing a damn good job at it. And I thought it was so cool, but it was still like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's like on Perfect Strangers when Balky used to like go into these like stoner impressions and stuff. That's a deep cut for you, but I know what you're saying though.
Not as deep as you think. We are binge watching Perfect Strangers right now.
Come on now,
season 4.
Don't be ridiculous. Corson.
Wow.
Good show, by the way. Big fan of that
I loved
show.
it. Watched it in the original run, man. I loved it.
Yeah, I did too. Good stuff.
Oh, so Brother Love gets done doing the Piper impersonation, and out comes not the Hot Rod, but out next is the one and only Morton Downey Jr. Now, at this point, I hadn't watched Morton Downey Jr. show. The name was popular enough that when you heard it, you knew of him in the late 80s, but it wasn't something I had watched. I didn't understand what it was or who he was when he came out here to do this. I'm sure he had his fan base, though, especially wrestling fans. No offense, guys, but I'm sure they probably enjoyed, some of them probably enjoyed a little Morton in their life.
Very similar demo.
Yeah, and Brother Love loves Mr. Downey, but Downey doesn't want a man who wears a skirt loving him. And so Morton has a lot of issues out here with both Piper and Brother Love here. So they go back and forth. What'd you think of this part of the show?
I mean, I think Morton did an okay job. He knew what he was there to do, obviously. For what it's worth, he's a professional, right? Like his show, he knew what he was doing with it. It's a lot of shtick. And I thought it was okay. He's a very abrasive personality. I know that's intentional.
Yeah. Right.
Although I think that it wasn't too hard for him to find that at the time in the 80s,
yeah. And I thought he did a good job here. Like, he felt comfortable, like, for never being around the wrestling business. He came in the ring. The first thing he did was force Brother Love to slap him a high five. Of course, he's smoking all the way through the segment. Yep. I'm sure we'll get to that in a moment. But
oh, God, all the smoke.
Yeah, there was a lot of cigarette. I've never been a smoker, per se, but I'm pretty sure you're supposed to take more than 2 puffs per cigarette here, like Morton does. He tries to see how many he can go through here. I don't know.
That's just a waste of money.
That's a lot. Yeah, that shit wasn't even cheap back then, man.
No, it was probably $1 a pack back then. It's a lot of money.
Oh, my grandparents went through a lot of cigarettes. I'll tell you that much, though.
I have too. I used to. I still do, but I used to too.
I used to, but I still do. I like it. Very good. Well, Downey's out here, puff, puff. No pass to Brother Love, though, and lights up cigarette number 2. He's just got in the ring. He's already on number 2 here. Downey responding to Brother Love, making fun of his skirt, making fun of his belly here. He doesn't take orders from a man with a belly like that. A perturbed Brother Love, though, again, places the microphone on the stool. So we get a little back and forth. Not a whole lot there, but again, this is where you said you felt like they may go off script later because these are pretty fast segments. Now, for me as a kid, I always felt like the Brother Love Piper shtick, like where he's interviewing himself, I thought that was longer than it was when I just did. I'm like, okay, that was a lot quicker than I remember it. So that was cool. The Brother Love Morton Downey Jr. was mercifully short, so
Yes.
I really appreciated that. That needed to be short.
Yeah.
And so we got both guys. There's three, I should have mentioned, three stools in the middle of the ring. We got the Piper's Pit set up in there. Three stools in plaid for good reason. And Brother Love on the left and Morton Downey on the right. And there's nobody sitting in the middle. And then, once again, we get the introduction of Roddy Piper. The bagpipes play. Is he really here? Is it really him? And the camera pans up the aisle again, that big, cool zoom lens. And there he is, for certain, with, Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper is returning to the WWF. And that's what I've been waiting for the past 5-6 minutes in this segment, is old Hot Rod. And he's out here, and he looks kind of upset on the way to the ring, but by the time he gets in the ring with that ovation, he's a big old grin on Hot Rod. It was good to see him back.
That old shit-eating grin on Roddy Piper. It's great to see him. Got the longer hair, the They Live hair, which is cool. We haven't seen him wrestle with that hair, but he's recognizable from They Live in that. It is good to see him back in the ring. It's been 2 years, and he's here to, I guess, reclaim his stool, right, as the premier talk show in the World Wrestling Federation. And there's a lot of stool in the ring. Let me put it that way.
There is a lot of stool in the ring. I count 5 at least, and that's and now Roddy. Yeah, exactly. I see where you're going with that. So it is the one, the only Roddy Piper on his way to the ring. Brother Love looks unimpressed by the announcement as the camera again shows Roddy Piper in the ring. And now Piper, he kind of sits for a minute. He kind of leans on the rope and he's looking back at which one do I want to start with? And he chooses Brother Love. I think we all know based on the end of this segment, he chose the wrong guy first, though, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's only natural that he's going to try to get Brother Love out of there because I guess, the big confrontation is, well, this loudmouth on this talk show, this big talk show, this trash talk show, and Roddy Piper, who's going to win this battle of words and battle of wills, right? And I think, in canon, right? It's just like, well, get Brother Love the hell out of here. Let's pull his pants down or whatever the hell they do. Yeah, let's humiliate this guy because he's just a Johnny come lately. Who cares about Brother Love? That's the feeling I get from the way they booked it. From the crowd's perspective is, well, it's Morton Downey. I mean, you've seen his show, but this is Roddy Piper. What are they gonna do? That's how I feel about it.
No, I think Vince looks at it. Celebrities are important, pal. Yep. Just ask everybody that got paid at WrestleMania 2. More than the wrestlers. Freaking Herb from Burger King made more than probably Andre, man.
Bill Fralick and all that, yeah.
Yeah, man. Lots of great stuff there. So this year they saved all their money, They got Rockin' Robin just so they could afford Morton Downey here. That was rough.
Yeah, she botched the America the Beautiful and everything just so Morton Downey could be here. That was nice.
That was it. That's right. Same arena last year we have Gladys Knight. This year Rockin' Robin. And we covered that on the first part if anybody wants to go check that out. But we're going to get back to this right now, guys. And Roddy Piper turns his attention to Brother Love, kind of talks about maybe yanking off the skirt early on here, refers to Brother Love having nice childbearing hips, referencing his Betty Davis knees and the Oprah Winfrey diet. Boy, this has 1980s written all over it, doesn't it?
Seriously. Good thing he didn't have a flock of seagulls haircut while he was saying all this.
I'm telling you, man. Hot Rod did look good with that Hollywood hair, though. He grew that hair out. And,
the Farrah Fawcett hair.
Yes. Yeah. Only Michael Hayes had better hair, if you ask Michael anyway. So Hot Rod engaging with Brother Love, looking for answers, but pulling the mic away. We saw Brother Love do that sometimes, right? I remember him doing it to Sapphire and things like that later on. But here's Roddy Piper asking some rhetorical questions is what they are, but he pulls the microphone away every time, not letting Brother Love get a word in. And Love says that Piper doesn't scare him, but if Hot Rod's going to go, and of course Brother Love's going to jump back and the crowd's going to laugh, or 12 people laugh anyway, so it worked. I mean, maybe the high rollers weren't paying attention, but it worked.
Yeah, the low rollers were paying attention at least, you know what I mean? To the boogie
low
boogie.
rollers.
Good thing he wasn't jingling keys or else, the really low rollers would have been excited.
I feel like Gorilla was out playing blackjack during this segment, maybe. But,
I don't blame him. I mean, if I were him, I'd be getting something to eat, walking around, looking for some action back there at the tables. Seriously.
So Roddy hears that Brother Love is the guy that they brought in that was supposed to replace the Hot Rod, but he's never seen Brother Love fight. He's never seen him in the ring. Love explains that he is not a fighter. He is a lover, yes. Roddy takes notice of all the gold rings Brother Love is wearing, gifts from his benefactor, the $1 Million Man. Piper ponders if DiBiase's waist is as green as Brother Love's fingers. That was a fun little line for the times as a kid anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I had to get my grandparents to explain to me why things would turn green when you're wearing gold.
Right.
But
it's a good line.
you learn later, right? You know, at least you know when you get a little older and you have a girlfriend, you don't want to buy her fake gold because you're getting in trouble. So I learned something from Roddy that day anyway. So
it's an educational program.
Yeah, absolutely. Takes notice of, so here we go. We get some jokes in. Piper's screwing with him. I should mention, though, this is during portions of this back and forth with Piper and Brother Love. Morton Downey, he just can't sit there, right? Yes. He's got to do something. So off camera, he begins throwing cigarettes at them. We just see these cigarettes flying. Yes. And God bless Piper and Brother Love, because for a while there, they're ignoring it until the point where Downey gets up and walks over and offers Brother Love a cigarette in the middle of their shtick. And that's when both guys looked. Even Brother Love looked at him like, fucking dude, sit the fuck down. Like, I felt like that's what they were doing. Did you not? I mean...
Yep. No, I don't think he knew what to do, or he just didn't care. But he probably just didn't really know what to do with himself. And he's like, I don't know. He's not thinking like a wrestling worker, you know, like he's not thinking, I'll get myself over. He's just thinking, oh, this would be funny, right? Or something like that. I don't know, actually, what the hell was going through that guy's mind.
I think he was doing the old Dusty Rhodes. Get over, son. That's what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
Get over. Get
or he was bored. I don't know.
It's like, who wrote this skit? Jesus.
Right. But I did always find it funny, though, just the throwing of the cigarettes. Like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, it's... he's got to get it. He's not on camera, so he's going to get something on camera. It's whatever, man. It's fun.
It's fun.
So Piper and Love, they move on. They continue their shtick. Back to the conversation. Love dotes that he's wearing a kilt as Piper questions Brother Love's heritage. Love, rest assured, is I'm a bit Scotch, is what he says, I believe, right there. You got to love that line. I'm a bit Scotch, as Piper tells Brother that Scotch is something that a Scotsman drinks. Yep. Before Piper turns to Love's attire. Of course, I should mention up on top, of course, the typical white Brother Love suit, but the skirt around the waist. Now, Love insists that's a kilt, but Piper reassures him, no, sir, that's a skirt. This here is a kilt. But now, if Brother Love's a real Scotsman, or Scotch, as he says, then he's got nothing under that skirt. And here comes the joke. Wait for it. Wait a minute. I better reword that. We all know you have nothing under the skirt. What I meant was... you're not wearing anything, and of course implying Brother Love's manhood there.
Ooh, you don't want to do that. I mean, he's a man of love, you know.
Who do you think sat down and wrote this? Roddy and Bruce? Do you know if Bruce ever mentioned who came up with these lines?
I don't remember Bruce ever saying he wrote it. I don't know that he referenced anything really being like heavily written, although, again, we've talked about what he referenced about it going overtime or whatever. This, I want to say this is like Vince is definitely heavily involved in this, right? Wouldn't you think?
There's some Vince jokes in here, that's for certain, pal.
Yeah, this has all the Vince hallmarks, you know, like, oh, it's a skirt, pal, that's funny, ha! Or whatever, you know, stuff like that. Ha! What if his pants fall down? You know, like that type of shit. And you figure Pat was Vince's right-hand man creatively at this time, right? So he probably had some kind of inputs.
Well, Pat liked the comedy, too, so you made a good call there as well. Yeah, Pat's a comedy guy, we've heard that, and he put the brown streak on his underwear and gave the stink face and things, so Pat was always loves that gaga. So Roddy Piper gets hold of said skirt and begins tugging at it. Hello. And you got to love Brother Love here because he Brother Rodney, which Piper hated. I mean, he hated that name. Brother Rodney, Brother Piper, Mr. Piper, right? Brother Hot Rod, Mr. Piper, I think was a Mr. Piper, I love you. But it was a little too late.
Yep.
And like you said, off comes the skirt and Brother Love in tidy reddies. I don't know what you want to call those.
Tidy reddies.
Pasty white legs bouncing around the ring. Oh, it was a great sell job, though. Brother Love is as red could be up top, and his legs were as white could be. Yep. It was very comical. And Bruce, of course, going to dance around the ring so the camera gets him good. He knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And jumps out of the ring, going to hightail it out of there because he is now embarrassed. And he initially he trips and falls, which he says was deliberate. But he also went on to say that later on up the aisle, as he continues to run, he does fall again. He said, now that was an accident, and he felt like he shattered both knees when he did that. Luckily for adrenaline, he gets up and kind of dances in place. I felt like Benny Hill music was playing or something, and as he runs off back behind the scenes. So we get rid of one there.
Yeah, we get rid of one. And I got to say, I've heard that story, too, about Bruce tripping and falling. They edited a little bit of that from one of the versions. One of the tapes or something that edited part of him running the way in his underwear. I don't know why, if it had anything to do with him falling or just too much of his ass. I'm not really sure. And the other thing is, Bruce Pritchard, only on the cusp here of turning, or maybe had just turned 26 years old. And I, as a kid, thought this guy, he had to be an old, a middle-aged man. Yeah. 26! It's crazy.
Yeah, no, absolutely, 100%. Bruce started as a teenager there working for Bosch, and it's amazing how far he got. And, when you're in your 20s, you think you know everything, and that's pretty much why Bruce disappears in 91 for a little while. So he says. I mean, so if he's saying it, then, I can't doubt that. So, but here for the night, Bruce Pritchard going to run away. Brother Love will be back, so stay tuned for that. I love the Ultimate Warrior. Got very mad at him for the first time when I realized Brother Love was literally gone in 91, though. I was, damn you, Warrior.
Yeah, I can see that.
But so Piper turns his attention now as Gorilla says, 1 down, 1 to go, and it begins. Roddy Piper going to dig into Morton Downey Jr., make a bunch of, I guess they were supposed to be jokes, and the entire time Morton Downey blowing smoke in Piper's face right from the beginning. Hot Rod clearly asking Mr. Downey multiple times, please don't blow smoke in me face now.
Mr. Downey, I'm going to ask you, son, don't blow no more smoke in my face.
That's right. So he refers to Downey as Morticia. I'm assuming Adams from the Adams family. I have no idea. I
would think so, unless there's like an unfamous Morticia that maybe just he knew from around the block there in Glasgow.
Morton, Morticia, whatever. I know she used to carry around that big, long cigarette holder, so maybe that's what Roddy had.
That's what it was.
Could have been. And with Piper then mocking Downey's TV show, to which Morton stands up. He doesn't like that. Gets in the face of Piper here. And again, blows smoke in the Hot Rod's face to the point where even Jesse Ventura goes, wow. So that was kind of cool. Because when he does it this time, I mean, it's directly in Piper's face. And you hear Gorilla go, ooh. And then Jesse, so they both give a soundbite there for the thing. So it was building the tension.
Exactly. The tension was building. There's also a line, I wish I'd remembered it earlier, when Downey made his entrance. Gorilla says something like, always puffing on that weed, isn't he?
That's right. I remember that.
Old person thing to say. Like, very like your great-grandfather. He's like, always puffing on that weed. It's funny line.
And it depends on where you come, where you're from too. Certain necks of the woods, if you will. My grandfather, I remember when people would come over, here in Ohio, we still call, well, you guys probably call it soda. We call it pop.
Pop, yeah.
And we call it pop here. But my grandfather called it dope. And if you look it up, that was a thing back in the day. And so when people would come over and I was getting, yeah, you want a dope? And they would just be like, what the? So yeah, it was good time. So
I'm gonna start using that, right? I'm gonna start saying that. Hey, you want a dope? Yeah,
I like that.
Hand him a Coca-Cola. They're like, what? Well, we're on track here.
Joe. Oh man, yeah, absolutely.
We're doing good.
Well, Roddy's not doing much better out here with Mr. Downey right now, so it's okay. We're making it more. I hope we're making it more entertaining than it actually was, at the very least. So,
I'm more entertained.
This continues on. Roddy Piper mentioning that Morton Downey had a father who was Morton Downey Sr. For those of you who don't know, Morton Downey Jr., Morton Downey Sr., figure that out. He was actually an Irish tenor, so I had to Google that. I have no idea. He was born in like 1900 something or other. He was known as the Irish Nightingale, though. He could sing, apparently. But Piper screws this up. He said, but his name wasn't Downey, but it was Downey. His name was John Downey. So what Piper meant to say was his name wasn't Morton. So I just figured that out for the first time, though, when I was doing this. I go, okay. So what Piper kind of got the lines wrong here. But, so we get that classic line back. So why did you call yourself Morton Downey Jr.? And then that big, long explanation from Morton, which as an 8 and 9 year old, it was like trying to navigate, the frickin' earth. I couldn't figure it out, man. I was like, I don't even understand what that means. I go get my grandmother. What does this mean? I don't think the way he worded it, I don't even think she understood exactly what it meant, but she kind of explained it to me like, he's implying that, that she sleeps around or something. I can't remember how she said it, but I was like, oh, okay.
Wasn't it? That's what your mama wanted to name. I can't remember the exact line off the top of my
from
head.
The father who reared me. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, what kind of line? Was that written? Was that a scripted line?
that was a roundabout way to get to saying your mama's a whore. I mean, that's
Seriously.
pretty much what. So Piper doesn't look. Well, the facials here. Hot Rod did not care much for that joke, or at least the line at the very least here. So the comments go on. He talks about, you're a funny guy. What happened to those warts? You used to have all them green nasty warts. I don't know this. I didn't go looking. Apparently, once upon a time, Morton Downey Jr. had warts on his face. Do you know anything about that, Joe? I don't know.
Nope. Is it STD related, or was
That's what I was wondering. Like
playing dirt as a kid? I mean, either is possible, I guess, with Morton Downey. But no, I never.
Was he going down on hookers? I don't know what this is.
I'm gonna just check my Google search history. Morton Downey warts.
Warts. Yes.
No, I don't have that. So I don't know. No, you got me on that one.
Roddy doing his best impression of the Hunchback of Notre Dame here. I don't really know what all of that was about.
Was that when he does a or something like that? I don't know.
Hello, nice to see you.
Hello, nice to see you. Yeah. They're just in silly territory at this point.
Yeah, so this is where they fire back and forth really quickly, though. Before they really have time to understand what each one is saying to another, they already have the answers. So that's why I figured this part was heavily scripted, unfortunately. And they got through the censors or got through the PC or whatever you want to call it. But he asks him what happened to the warts. He says, I gave him to a homeless warthog. Piper quickly replies, I didn't know your girlfriend was homeless. So,
I think
ensues.
Yeah, that's comedy. I think those had to be planned lines. Because like you said, Ray, that's a really good observation. They're too quick there. Like, that's like TV style insult retorts. You know what I mean? Like, as quick as Piper is and as quick as Downey, I guess, was, I don't think they're coming up with that on the fly. And if they are, that's bad. Either way, it's bad, but...
Right, yeah. Well, do you want to be the guy that admitted to writing that joke, or just, they freelanced there. They did their own shtick.
Yeah, I guess there's really a no-win situation there.
Well, Downey didn't like it either way. He blows more smoke in the hot rod's face. Piper going to tell Downey one more time, don't blow the smoke in my face, son. And Morton doesn't listen, to a guy who wears a kilt, he says, or a skirt, actually, is what he calls it here. And here's where the greatest line of the entire segment comes up, because he goes, how do you spell kilt? K-I-L-L-E-D? And Roddy even lets him have it here. He goes, did you hear that joke? And Roddy had to repeat it, mocking how shitty the joke was. He goes,
awful.
He said K-I-L-L-E-D on. He slaps his knee and just, whoever's writing this shit, not very good. And this felt ad-libbed at the time, and it was terrible.
Awful. Awful. Literally one of the worst jokes that you could have possibly made there. Killed. Shut up.
Didn't even make sense.
It's not even a joke. It's just like I don't hear well or spell well.
I feel like I'm in 7th grade and somebody's trying to, come back and they're just not having a good time of it.
Yeah.
Right? We're going back and forth with each other.
It's
so
like
Roddy.
Sorry. It's like the old one, like look down your shirt and spell I cup. I-C-C-U-P. It's like, what? What are you talking about? It's like that.
Well, apparently Morton had a catchphrase on his show, zip it. That's how he told people to shut up. And so Piper wants to know more about, what is this? Well, I think it explains itself, but Piper needs an explanation as to what this zip it thing is. And it's simple. It's not flip it. It's not whip it. It's zip it. So Morton basically telling Piper to shut the fuck up here, which would have been a lot, would have woke me up anyway at this point in the segment.
Yeah.
I feel like we're we're definitely over 15 minutes deep into this thing at this point. So Downey then brings up Piper's long hair, long skirt. He's seen it before. One day Piper going to be picked up in a bar as a transvestite. Ooh, that got some response. The crowd heard the word transvestite in 1989. Edgy. Oh, man. That's
edgy. I mean, in Atlantic City, though, at night, on the boardwalk, things happen.
I've been to Vegas. I've seen things. I'm feeling absolutely. Well, Piper, growing more upset with the smoking again, asks Downey to blow it in a different direction. So Downey's next puff, he kindly pats him. Does that work, Joe? You just pat the smoke away? I did appreciate that, though. He pats the smoke away.
It's a nice visual optic there, but no, I don't think that really works. I think the air travels where it may,
So Piper goes, okay, do it in a different direction. Downey obliges for one puff.
One puff.
Unfortunately, the very next one, I love the fake out. It was like 2 great bookings in a row here. If it was a wrestling, it would be like the ultimate spots in the match. Because first he pushes it away, and then the next time he's facing away, but then fakes him out and kind of blows it in Piper's face anyway. And now Roddy begins to tremble a little bit. That's the 4th time I'm telling you, don't blow the smoke in my face. So Morton does the opposite, blowing smoke directly in Piper's face for a 5th time. Did Roddy die of lung cancer, by the way? I don't know. It's a bad joke. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. But so he does it a 5th time, and that pretty much does it. But Morton going to try to talk him out of getting upset. Piper looks pretty pissed off here. He begins to tremble some more. But Morton tells him, it's good, it's healthy, you can live as long as I have. It's like, I didn't even look at their age difference, but it was great.
I like it's good, it's healthy. Yeah, okay, RJ Reynolds. Like, what are you talking about?
Was that even legal to say in 1989? I don't even know, man.
I don't know. I mean, Joe Camel was still a thing, so you had that.
That's
at least. This guy was like a Joe Camel. Yeah,
He
it's
was.
good, it's healthy, sure.
So Piper then begins to slowly embrace it. Maybe it is good. Maybe it is okay. It made my skin feel yellow. Felt good in my lungs as he asks Mr. Downey, hey, why don't you light one up for the old hot rod to try? So Roddy, for the first time in his entire life, is trying to smoke a cigarette, right? Okay.
Never smoked
I'm sure
anything.
Roddy's tried a lot of things at this point in his life. But there's a lot of things going to kill me, Mr. Downey, but the cigarette's it's gonna be pretty far down the list right now. Oh, man. I'm sorry, man. I'm just trying to entertain us while we get through this.
You need to, folks. You need to.
So as Downey turns away, you got to love his, like, he must have been a mime in a different time because he's really good at, like, pantomiming what he's going to do. He's, like, telling the crowd, I'm not going to give him the cigarette. I'm going to blow smoke in his face again. That's what I understood he was doing. He's like, oh, man, it's so great.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, with his back turned, he doesn't realize Hot Rod has lifted up and just happens to, wouldn't it be funny if it wasn't under that particular stool?
You look an idiot.
Oh, he's like, where's it at? Oh, shit.
Playing the
Like
cup game here on the boardwalk. Getting swindled on the corner there by the transfer side.
Who ripped Roddy? Somebody's in trouble when we get backstage. But he lifts up the stool, and underneath it just happens to be a fire extinguisher. And so as Downey turns around to blow that cigarette one more time in the face of the Hot Rod, Roddy going to give it to him. Fire extinguisher to the face of Morton Downey. Downey goes, going to swim in the whatever that stuff is that comes out of there, and Piper going to give him a hose up the ass there, spray him in the. I don't think Roddy was too happy with him, but credit to Downey at first, and I say at first for very good reason. But he takes a good bump, and he sells it great with the swimming and the fire extinguisher junk, and Roddy giving him the hose in the ass. But then Downey going to go into business for himself a little bit. I didn't like the aggressiveness of the way he grabbed Roddy's leg just to start with, as Piper starts to stomp off. So let's get through the fire extinguisher, and we'll talk about the end of it after that.
Fire extinguisher bit is odd because unless there's some kind of bizarre code I'm unaware of, I don't know why it would be in the ring. It just
He's smoking, right? It was a fire hazard.
I guess so. Yeah, that's fair enough. Too bad we don't have Firebreaker Chip here. You know, it's a different era.
Fun.
But
Special Forces
would have been fun. Yeah, I would have liked if like Gorilla Monsoon just came to the ring and told them to wrap it up like very loudly. That would have been my favorite thing. You know, just like go home or whatever.
Get the fuck home.
Get the fuck out of here.
And don't come back. And stay there.
But the I guess like ultimately it conceptually the payoff makes sense, right? Like Downey has been obnoxious the whole time with the cigarettes, and that was part of his gimmick is that he was a chain smoker, right? And the ball and the smoke, right? And then you're right? But the pantomime, he's like, you know, with the big like goofy grin. That was well shot too, and it was well framed and everything with Piper with his back turned and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean the bump. I give him credit. The bump was good. He did the swimming like a precursor to Vince with the beer truck type of thing, right? He sold it well. And then the ankle grab, right? The leg grab. Mm-hmm. To Roddy Piper, of all people.
Yeah. I mean, he got you. Your day's done. You're a talk show host. He's a legendary professional wrestler. And you're kind of telling the fans, I'm not done with this guy. You know, I'm making a comeback. And so we see Piper begin to leave the ringside area. And this is where, I probably didn't catch it as a kid, but I've noticed it many, many moons ago. We see Downey get up. And he's semi-selling to a little bit of a degree, but he is hot. He's pissed off. He's up. He jumps out of the ring and begins, I guess you'd say, chasing Piper. Yeah. Piper doesn't even realize it for quite a while, but he begins chasing Piper up the aisle to the point where Jesse probably thought there was still more to the angle because Ventura goes, look at Downey chasing up after Piper. I don't know. And luckily, Piper gets to a certain point and just stops for a moment. He turns back and he sees him, and Roddy doesn't really do anything about it. You know, he just continues on his way, but luckily, right about that point, Pat Patterson's out there, and you see Pat intercept Downey and go, "What the fuck are you?" Whatever he said to him, it's like, no, you need to stop because what are you going to do when you catch up to him? Piper's going to fuck you up.
Yeah, and he would. Pat then bummed a cigarette off of Downey, from what I understand. You know,
I believe that. If he had any left at that point,
yeah, that's a good point. It's tough out there. It's a long segment.
It was 21 minutes. This segment clocks.
There's no way that was intended. 21 minutes could not have been intended, right? That can't have been, right? I mean,
and going into intermission too, right?
Right. Unless the idea was to give the crowd but you'd figure the crowd wants to stick around, right? They want the crowd to be there for Piper, so
right.
Yeah, that seemed like it ran over somewhere in the course of that. I always thought it was more of the Piper Downey interaction, that parts of that might have been dragged out. Because both guys, well, I don't want to say Downey's known for improvising, but like Piper's known for being able to like go off the rails and improvise, right, and do things his own way. I don't know where it went off the rails. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I don't know how far it overshot because I'm like I'm anal about a lot of things, so I time a lot of things, and I timed when Brother Love left, when he ran away in his underwear. There we were 13 minutes into the segment then, so we got another seven of Piper and Morton Downey. So did it go long? I feel like it went longer than it needed to, but. How short was it supposed to go? You still had to trade back and forth barbs and then do the fire extinguisher, so maybe it ran over a few minutes, but it's still, I feel like no matter what, it would have went too long for my taste. Yeah. So
maybe it would have gone 15.
Yeah.
That seems about right.
Now, wrestling match, they can take it home whenever they're told to take it home. And when you're in the middle of this, you kind of got to get to the next part of the story. You can't just skip. Why did he just shoot the fire extinguisher at him when he was talking to in the middle of it, so... Yeah, I mean they did what they did, and that was a segment that happened at WrestleMania 5, guys, in front of like you said, 50% of a crowd that was not there for the wrestling, just there to kind of show them, hey, I'm at the event, big event that's in town,
right?
And we are now 2 hours 45 minutes into this event, or whatever, 2 hours into the event, and I have no idea who any of these people are. I know the Hogan Savage thing, and that's pretty much it. And we got to wait 4 hours to get there.
God. That's a night. That's a night.
I guess it took 20 minutes to tell the story that the hot rod is back. At the end of the day, that's what this whole thing was.
Hey, he got a much bigger story than Jimmy Snuka did.
Yeah, you ain't shit. Didn't even say hi to Ronnie Garvin. Just walked in and out. My God, what was that about?
Right before a match, like where the guys have already made their entrances. By the way,
it was like the old championship wrestlings where they would go, and also here this week, and they would wave, but they would like shake a hand or something. Jimmy just comes out to that saxophone. You wasn't even Superfly music yet. He's like hits the "I love yous" and out the door, and it was almost like you ever see an old tape where you tape over something and you kind of see both things and it was like Jimmy Snuka coming out. He's overlapping a match, and they're not really there at the same time. Very, very weird. Yes.
Very weird.
Very weird indeed. What's even weirder is we have a 20-minute talk show segment going into intermission. But before we can get to intermission, Mean Gene Okerlund pitching to the major motion picture trailer seen for the first time ever right here at WrestleMania 5. If Morton Downey Jr. wasn't enough for you guys, here it is, no holds barred. There we go. Our first clips. We see Stan Hansen with the Tiny Whiners, and we see we see Zeus. Our first look at Zeus, man. What did you think?
I think Tiny Lister did a great job as Zeus. Who else could have been Zeus? Come on now. Tiny Lister killed it as Zeus. What a villain.
Just saw him on an episode of Perfect Strangers the other day, I'll have you know.
He's and that was
before No Holds Barred.
Oh, really? It was an earlier one, before he did. He was on Fresh Prince. He was on some shows Friday.
He did a lot of shows. Yes, he did a lot of sitcoms.
He was also the president in the Fifth Element. I always like to remind
he was on a Walker, Texas Ranger, and he was afraid of thunderstorms. It was great to see Zeus play a murderer who was also cowardly of thunder. It was good stuff.
That's good. Nuanced character, because isn't Zeus the god of thunder?
That's right. Yeah, good call. And he's a great character actor, apparently. He can do comedy. He can murder people. He can do all sorts of things. He's Zeus. Or he was Zeus. R.I.P.
Fits in with the Jimmy Snuka thing, the murdering. This isn't airing anywhere, right? This is the tape. Right?
We'll say it again.
This is a practice show,
live,
right? This is a run-through show we're doing.
Yeah, right? I'm gonna do another hour of Brother Love and Morton Downey. Sure,
that's what I want to do too.
Well, we come out of the blockbuster movie trailer. There, we see Zeus and Rip. However he does that. Rip him. I don't remember now. But,
Rip him. What's that?
All this does is remind me that at some point I have to cover No Holds Barred. Which
good for you, right? That's great.
Look forward to that almost as much as that last segment there that we just covered. But we got some time, guys, so stay tuned.
Great
At that
time.
point, I'll be out of the game altogether, I'm sure. So it's Sean Mooney standing by at ringside, going to talk to Donald J. Trump, if he can get his name right.
Donald Day Trump.
Donald J. Trump.
Speak with us, week with us. Like, what the hell are you saying?
Oh, wait, what was going on? Was Sean just that nervous?
Nervous, yeah. He's admitted
Which
it.
is, it's weird. Yeah, I haven't heard Sean talk about that, but
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, he was almost physically trembling trying to do this interview with all Donald Trump was at that point was like a socialite. It wasn't like, it was so weird. I mean, yes, he was running, he was paying for the show to a degree and whatnot.
Right.
So I get that, but it's just so odd. All you got to do is go out there and ask him a couple questions. He don't give a shit.
No, he doesn't care. He's like, who the hell are you? But yeah, Sean Mooney's like, Donald Day Trump, week with us.
Then Sean tries to impress him. I'm going to spend a few dollars and leave it in your casino. And Trump's like, that's great. I like that.
Yeah, it's nice. What was his big question? He's like, have the casinos been busy? So, wow, way to hit him with that hardball.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, busy casinos. Roads are packed.
The traffic is tremendous.
I don't know that anybody's ever said traffic is tremendous, but he does put it over here. He loves the traffic.
Big fan.
All right. So at this point, guys, we're going to go to a quick audio clip. Jesse Ventura responding to Hulk Hogan heading to Hollywood. So I love this. The body has not turned it on to this. I mean, I don't even know if he was this good in his movies. The body says, how dare you, Hulk Hogan, come to Hollywood, my neck of the woods, Jesse's domain. And he knows why Hogan's going to do it, because after he loses to the Macho Man tonight, he's no longer going to have a job here in the WWF.
He can drive my limo.
I got a job for him. Yeah.
I love the way Gorilla Monsoon just kind of laughs at this. Like,
laughs it off, yes.
This guy, even the broadcast. But Jess, what's wrong with you?
Go grab me a salami sandwich, piece of peanut butter pie.
Get the gabagool. He's like, all he's done is made a movie, okay? It's very like, girl just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, he's not selling. It's not Bobby, so he's not playing Jesse's shit. He's
nope.
Meanwhile, Jesse has never been more irate in his entire run here in the company.
Right.
I feel like Jesse was trying to angle something here, right? Like, oh man, Hollywood and me and Hogan and Gorilla's like, yeah, we're not doing that. I'm going to tell Vinny right now that's not happening. I'm not a fan of yours, Body. So.
Yeah, and plus Jesse hasn't been a wrestler active like full time in years, and a bad one, and it was over with. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people interpret this promo, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, as like a shoot, but really they didn't have animosity to the degree that they later would. Maybe.
No,
that wasn't until later.
Yeah,
when Jesse found out that Hogan was the one that told Vince about the union. He didn't know that at the time.
No,
or anything.
He didn't know that until I think it came out in the courts when they had to go through the depositions or something like that. That he found that out was Hogan. Yeah, so it's some time down the road.
Yeah, Jesse's just like you said. He's working an angle or trying to work an angle.
Trying to work himself into an angle, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And staying in character because Jesse, the character, hated Hogan. He did not like Hogan. Like, Trump Hogan and all that and calling him out all the time. And especially in the context of the Mega Powers feud, he really didn't like Hogan. The lust.
So he storms off here, waiting for Gorilla to kind of sell it for him. When he realizes Gorilla's not doing that, Jesse just kind of all right, I'm going to collect my paycheck here. So we put over the No Holds Barred movie. It's coming, guys. Stay tuned. Or don't. That's up to you. I won't blame you. But the Mega Powers Explode is coming later tonight. So at this point in the show, we are doing an intermission in the live arena. So we get a feud recap package here. We see highlights going back to WrestleMania 4 when Savage emerged as the new WWF champion right here in Trump Plaza Convention Hall, all the way to February's main event and the implosion of the Mega Powers. And that sets us up for Mean Gene Okerlund standing by backstage. Oh man, here it is, Hulk Hogan. All right, Joe, what a difference a year makes. Just last year, WrestleMania 4, Hulk Hogan was ringside for Randy Savage's title win. This year, they stand across the ring from one another. What a story we've told over this last 365.
I love this story. I love and I know that some of it wasn't intentional from the 85, 86 stuff, but for people that were watching then, and in the context that we've been watching it over on OVP, to see pretty much day one when Savage came in summer of 85, it was like, oh, I'm better than Hulk Hogan. Like literally the outs, and he's like, fuck you, Hulk Hogan. And then
I'll kill you.
They have the house show feud at MSG 85, 86, really good stuff. They even have that one last like old time sake match in like June of 87 on the house shows that they were promoting.
Yep.
And the whole time throughout this, Savage is still like, oh, I'm the best, right?
Right.
And then obviously the big save, and I'm mentioning all this because none of it's covered in the WrestleMania 5 like package.
Yeah, the package. Yeah.
Oh, the package. So, but anyway, when Liz brings out Hogan starting this main event in October '87, and then to where we pick up from with WrestleMania 4, it's a hell of an arc. I mean, it really is a story with a lot of deep-rooted stuff.
Deep. Yeah.
Yeah, I
best
love
story ever
story.
told. I'll say it's the best story ever told. Yeah.
I mean, it's up there. Golden era wise, it probably is, right? I mean, definitely in the golden era. What a story. Two guys that put their all into this. I mean, Savage and Hogan both worked their asses off, and I don't mean in the ring necessarily, although I do, but I also mean in character, in promo, in the nuance, or, you know, a lot of people don't associate Hogan and nuance, I guess, but you know what I mean. Like, Hogan knew what he was doing as a performer.
Right. Yeah,
he did.
Absolutely, 100%.
He knew what he was doing.
He knew where he wanted to take it. That's right. Yeah. And so he says, if you told me last year that we'd be wrestling against each other this year, I would have called you a liar, dude. But Hulk should have seen it coming as the Mega Powers made it through SummerSlam, through Survivor Series. It was obvious that the Mania was a little bit ahead of the Madness. You love those dicks. Why was I the only guy, a kid growing up, that I saw these things for what they were when they were happening? Nobody wanted to hear it. And then later on, everybody's like, oh, yeah, what a dickhead, man. What a dick. Even though the Mania was a little bit better than the Madness, dude, we were still on the same level, bro. Like, a lot of hidden shit in those comments there.
There's some things there. I mean, we just watched recently on the Canon an episode where Hulk Hogan flat out asked Liz to kiss him. After Savage did. After Savage got
I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah, you would, right? So that was a little dicey. You know, and that's a little, as the kids say, sus, right?
Yeah,
that's a little sus there.
I've never asked my sister to kiss me. I'm just saying. You know, I mean, love her like a sister.
If I had a sister, I wouldn't do it either. But I believe it was Bruce, somebody from the company, you know, explained it, so I think it was Bruce, that they wanted to give at least some kind of plausible case to also side with Savage. They wanted there to be both sides could be viewed, you know. That was brilliant too, because for anybody who was not a Hogan fan or was not a wrestling fan, if they followed this story, and everybody followed, I mean, I'm telling you, man, there were kids at school that didn't talk wrestling, but they talked this. There were adults in my family that didn't watch wrestling, but they knew Hogan, Savage, Liz. They knew this story. They didn't know the weekly of the story, but they understood they were fighting, you know, obviously it's deeper rooted, as we know all the intricate little parts and things, but to the adults that didn't watch even the program, they were fighting over Liz or whatever the case was. So they it resonated. The story it was a huge soap opera storyline is what it was. And that's why it drew what it drew, I feel like, because there were just so many people on board for this particular match, this particular story that didn't even watch wrestling. Right. And you think about the 15 million or whatever it was people that saw it on the main event in February of '89 and what they saw visually, right? The visual of Savage falling on Liz, the visual of Hogan, and the visual of Hogan carrying her out, and the credit to Ebersol, whoever produced this one, in the background, Savage like fending off the Twin Towers, right? And then the visual of Hogan asking for the Tizime, but then Hogan crying at Liz's bedside, and the visual of Savage coming in and attacking with the belt, throwing Liz across the room, by the way. Oh, man, did he throw me. Ooh, that was tough. Right? And that's to cement him as the heel, right? Yeah, I don't think he whips a girl around like that until Gorgeous George many years later I saw. And she liked it, probably. Probably. But anyway, Stephanie Beller's notwithstanding. Notwithstanding that, pal. And then Beefcake coming in without the shirt, at first with the shirt and getting his ass kicked, that's all funny. But I think just for the primetime audience that saw that 2 months prior, 15 million people. That was, you're going to grab some of that, much the way they did with the first main event to grab people for WrestleMania 4, because it's very broad-based, very appealing. You don't need to know about the 85, 86 shit like us nerds do, right? You don't need to know about who's the better wrestler and who's in the Observer and Randy Poffo and Liz Hullett or whatever the hell it is, right? You just need to know that these two guys are both big and muscular and scary, and they're fighting over this damsel in distress. Beautiful woman, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Whew, yeah, that's a hell of a story, man. They've done a tremendous job, and of course Hogan's going to do what he always does. And again, I grew up not a Hulkamaniac. I was not a Hulk Hogan fan, and at the same time,
I'm always been able to give people their due. If they have a good match, they have a great match. If they have a good promo, they have a good promo. And Hulk Hogan, whenever he's got that big fight, man, he knows how to sell it. And he comes in here and he does the selling. He pushes it hard. And of course, we get the routine at the end where it gets a little out there with the seismologist coming in. Donald Trump bringing the big name seismologists of the world all together to see what will happen. You know, when the mega powers explode over Trump Tower and will Atlantic City fall into the ocean, dude. So we get all that again. Some good stuff. I still like the backstroke gimmick better from last year, but it's better. But
I think what's come out of these last 2 years, Ray, is that Hogan just really wants this fucking place to collapse. This convention center. He just hates this place.
There are certain Hogan promos that stick out to me.
Yeah,
and 4 does, 5 a little bit, but 4 really does, and then. That Mega Maniacs promo that they do on the March to WrestleMania 9 is like 10 minutes of just the most nonsense. But everything always ends up with people like drowning in the water. Like there was something about Hogan wanting to take the world underwater, man. It was just, it always ended there, right? So it's really weird dynamic. Hulkster never had a match in a pool, though. That would have been cool. That would have been interesting.
It would actually been great.
In there. Leg drop off a diving board, that would have been cool.
That would actually have been a great leg drop. Give it to him.
Well, we get the old Hogan promo here, and the What You Gonna Do, Randy Savage. Tonight, Hulkamania will regain the WWF title, and Hogan has stated in recent weeks that he's been champion all along. So there's your babyface promo.
Yeah, that's a little weird, because okay, devil's advocate, if you will.
Okay.
He didn't fairly lose it, but then again, he never regained it either, because... Right? I mean, he was still stripped of it one way or another, whether he fairly lost it or not. It was up for grabs in a tournament. He didn't beat Andre.
He had the opportunity, pal. Mm-hmm. That's what he was given.
Exactly. So, no, Savage won it. Fair and square might be up for debate because Hogan helped, but he won it.
That's true.
Champion.
Yeah, that's it.
So,
I agree with you.
Yeah.
So we get the 20-minute segment with Morton Downey, Piper, Brother Love. We get the no-holds-barred gimmick, Jesse Ventura going into business for himself, Sean Mooney talking to Donald Day, whatever his name is, Trump there. We see the Mega Powers feud recap. We get a Hulk Hogan promo, and then a 5-minute intermission for those of us at home. Yeah. And it's already been intermission for those in the arena. So at this point, we are clocked in at 45 minutes of no wrestling. 45 minutes. Literally, an hour of the pay-per-view is just straight nothing.
Vince Russo's dream.
Yeah. He was at this event. This might have been where he got the idea from. John Potts told me he was right there at the event.
He
so, okay.
He went to both. Sense. Yeah, 4 and 5. Yeah. Bro, what if we don't wrestle for like an hour of the pay-per-view, bro?
That was great.
What if there's an hour where we do skits, bro? Kind of like vaudeville, whatever that stuff is at.
Vaudeville. We'll call it Crash TV, bro.
Crash TV. Morton Downey, bro. Crash. That's where you see it all makes sense, right? Morton
they took
Downey.
The crash pads on Morton Downey Jr. That's where they came. I got it now. Okay.
Exactly.
Makes sense. Well, if you were booking, Joe, and you came out of this 45-minute lull and you saw all the matches left on the card, what would you come back with? I'm just curious. Like, which match would you come back with?
Oh, definitely the most immobile person on the roster.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
You have to be more specific than that. I see a couple of them lumbering their way to the ring right now.
That's a good point. The back brace gentleman from WrestleMania 3,
Oh, I got you, boss.
Hey, you don't say that about me. I don't like it.
Oh, so here we go. Storyline purposes. Yes, after 45 minutes of no wrestling, we're going to bring Andre the Giant to the ring. Big John Studd, who's makes Andre look like fucking AJ Styles right now, I feel like, anyway. And
holy shit. Why did they bring him back? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, dude. I've
been
saying that every week on the show. Nobody has yet to answer me. I'm waiting for an answer here.
John Studd is like the epitome of when he was a heel. He seems so nice in real life, kind of like a George one-man gang. Like way too nice to be a bad guy. Like, even though he was supposed to be like this rough tumble guy, like, you're kind of like, nah, you could tell he's a big softy. He's Al from Home Improvement. He's a nice guy. And then, so him to be a face, I guess, makes sense. But of course, he's got a feud with Andre. It's in his contract. That's the term of bringing him back.
I think he's had that contract for about 10 years at this point.
God.
John. But, yeah.
Oh, what a bad thing. But go on.
Yeah, no, well, okay, so Andre had Hacksaw after WrestleMania 4, and he pivots into the feud with Jake. Now, Jake had Rude all of last year, which amazing angles, tremendous.
Yes.
I mean, every time they gave him another segment to do, it was just tremendous. But then they would have those house show matches, and wow, that was rough. But so we go into the fall, and Jake needs something new to do. That was growing stale. October, I believe it was, Saturday night's main event. Jake versus Rick Rude, kind of the blow off, if you will. It's pretty much done at that point. Bobby Heenan gets involved. Rude takes the DDT, if I'm remembering correctly. Down goes Rude. Jake looks like he's going to get the win. Heenan jumps on him. Jake goes after Heenan, and out comes Andre to make the save. And after Andre lays waste to Jake, he goes over and checks on Rude, which is a really weird thing to do, watch Andre kneel down in concern. Are you okay, Rick Rude?
Oh, Rick Rude, I like you.
Meanwhile, Andre doesn't realize Jake's going for his sack. I mean, Damien, guys, get your head out of the gutter.
Seriously.
Jake, he has pulled that out before at an indie show here in Cleveland, I'll have you know. That went viral back when that happened.
I believe that.
But so Jake comes back with Damien, and we learn at that point that Andre has ophidiophobia, according to Mean Gene. That is the fear of snakes. You can't wait to get there, can you, Joe? You just can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are afraid of Jake's snake, but for different reasons. Probably because of the warts type of thing, the Morton Downey effect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always thought it was funny. Quinn used to do, not even, like, well before we did the show, like 20 years ago, Quinn did this impression of Andre, which was just, boss, snake! Just, I don't know why, it makes me laugh. It was also good to see that Tony Chimmel got a medical degree as a doctor coming out to check on Andre during that.
Dr. Chimmel. Gave it all up for the World Wrestling Federation.
That's
Dr.
right,
Chimmel.
man. Got to
paging Dr. Chimmel.
Got to do it. It's much more important to set up a ring, obviously, and ring announce.
Well, it pays more. I hear anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, apparently,
you don't have to pay back as many fees anyway. I guess, right?
Fair point. I think this angle it makes sense from the standpoint of Jake Roberts is not a physically imposing individual,
right?
At all, right? And he's not supposed to be. Much like Roddy Piper wasn't. Roddy Piper was just crazy. That was his appeal. Yeah. Jake is psychologically like, he'll find a way to get you, my man, right? But he's not an overpowerer. And he kind of wrestles, when he's a face, he wrestles as an underdog, right? I mean, he's kind of spindly and thin and, weedy.
I don't know that he's ever had two straight offensive moves on Andre. So, I totally agree, yeah.
So, to find an angle, literally in the sense of the word, like an angle to be able to get Andre to have some type of vulnerability. Yeah. With Duggan, it was a board, but of course, like anyone could be bludgeoned with a board.
Sure.
But right? But scared of a snake, more alliteration. To be scared of a snake is something we've never seen. We've never seen Andre show fear like that, right? So on that end, I think it really does make sense. And these are two very big names for the company. Yeah. Two very big appealing draws, like for the Saturday Night's Main Event crowd, but the NBC glossy Ebersol crowd, recognizable, and we know they would go on to be in the Hasbro Series 1, right? Like very recognizable characters.
Yeah. Sure.
If for kids that grew up that never watched wrestling again after 1990, they'll remember Jake Roberts, the Snake Man, right?
And
they'll remember Andre the Giant. So all of that's cool. This is actually, what would you say, the number 3 or 4 match of WrestleMania 5?
If you go off the way they built it on TV, it was the number 2 match. If you pay, they announced it with they announced the Mega Powers, and they announced Jake and Andre, and they bill it pretty much as the secondary. Now, I'm not saying that. I think Warrior Rude should easily be plugged in next. But
this is right there.
This was for the WWF, at least early on, they felt like this was their secondary main. I don't know if it's because it was Andre. I don't really know what the appeal they thought they had here was, but. So we get the Andre-Jake feud going. Andre chokes Jake out at Survivor Series. Andre chokes Jake out at the Rumble, eliminates him. Jake comes back with Damien, eliminates Andre. So, but all the while, every time Damien comes about, clearly Andre still has a fear of snakes. We're not supposed to say the word. I love Brother Love. He would call it a serpent in front of Andre. Actually, he accidentally said the word snake one time, and he paid for it, so he learned. Way to go, Brother Love, but serpent.
That's a good touch. A serpent. That's a good touch.
So clearly, Bobby Heenan swears that Andre's not afraid of snakes, that he's been cured. They went and saw a therapist or whatever. He's been hypnotized and whatever the hell they had to do to him to get him. Anyways, the story tells a different angle every time. Andre still shows fear from the snake. So we get to the pay-per-view here. Now, Meanwhile, a guy by the name of Big John Studd makes his wrestling return after a couple years. He's been gone since the end of '86. And Studd comes in and is announced for the Royal Rumble. But first, he's on the Brother Love show. He denounces the Heenan family. So apparently, John Studd's returned as a babyface from his ill-fated career in Hollywood, by the way. He did not make a movie like Roddy Piper. So Studd is back, and he wins the Royal Rumble, which I thought even then, I was like, that's kind of weird. But I knew John Studd. I had his LJN guy. I knew John Studd was a big deal back in the day. I watched him, so I was like, okay, but it was still weird. That was a weird choice.
It is a weird choice. I guess the one thing we can say about that is the Rumble, this is the first pay-per-view one, right? It hadn't really been established as the Royal Rumble that more modern fans would know, the winner gets a shot at WrestleMania. And I guess from like a novelty point of view, it played out storyline-wise because Hogan and Savage had their issues, right? That was the big angle of the Royal Rumble. Once both of them are out, the crowd dies anyway, right?
Like
the last 20
match dies.
From 20 to 30,
Yeah, that's pretty much it. They booked it perfectly from Axe and Smash and Andre all the way through the Twin Towers and Hogan, and then it just falls off, with Red Rooster and Brutus Beefcake, and it's whatever. But John Studd's in there. DiBiase kind of looked like a favorite. He bought the number 30, and then Studd wins. It's like, okay, and he does a couple of cool moves. Like he does like a double underhook suplex. Then he has a squash match. Does the same identical moves that he does to DiBiase. Okay, this is kind of peculiar. And now this is where Richard Land comes into play, because it's probably from the Observer, I believe, actually. But I think it's on the history of WWE as well. But I'm pretty sure I also read it in the Observer. I think this comes from Dave. That at some point on the house shows, in February and March, Studd was working Akeem, Barn Burners. Those are some of the worst matches I've ever had to cover. And supposedly, I can't remember what arena it was, but they state that John Studd was given an ultimatum. You either slam Akeem tonight and make it look believable, or you're done. We don't even want you. And I guess, credit to George Gray, who was an amazing bumper and just worker for a guy his size. I mean, I can't say enough. Watching him in 86 UWF, we covered that whole year, the bumps he was taking for Duggan, and then here, in the WWF, and that accidental bump through the ropes during that main event. But no, so he slams him, I guess. John Studd still got a job, but there's no way. I can't buy that you win the Royal Rumble and their intention was to immediately throw you in a referee spot at WrestleMania.
I find that hard to believe as well, unless they really overstated overestimated their confidence in this building to some big summer angle for Andre Studd, which I know that they did work the house shows, right, briefly, and then they stopped.
They will.
Yeah, they did. They will. I don't know. Very bizarre. Again, John Studd, I love the guy. I really do. I think he seemed like a really nice guy.
Nice guy, yeah.
He was never the greatest wrestler to begin with, even as a heel. He was just able to be, but he's very like early 80s heel that happened to linger to the Hogan era, right? Like the Superstars era. But he's more of like a territory style heel.
Yeah.
He didn't really mesh with what would happen in 87 and 88. So him coming back really is even more jarring than Jimmy Snuka coming back, killing people notwithstanding. It's still very more sorry.
Allegedly.
But it's more jarring. I mean, and Snuka had been gone since 85, but even that, it's like, okay, Jimmy Snuka's back, Piper's back. John Studd is just like, really?
It just felt like time had passed his character by. And he was clearly immobile based on just a little bit. He did a couple handicap matches leading into the WrestleMania here. So he's basically put, like you said, maybe they thought this would be a perfect way to, a little way to get Andre and Studd some heat coming out, because it was clearly the plan, and you could tell they gave up on Jake and Andre about a month before this match. Yeah, because it just starts booking towards John Studd and Andre. Lots of stare downs and things, and I got to call into question Jack Tunney putting John Studd as the referee of a match with, whether he is a Heenan family member or he's not. I don't know how he can be unbiased, but that's where we're at right now, as he makes his way to the ring with the slow motion version of what would become Jim Duggan's theme later on.
Isn't that funny? That was just a repurposed. I think it's a Jim Johnston joint.
It has to be.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if it was Jimmy Hart. I think it's Jim Johnson. But yeah, I always notice that too. It's like, wait, that's Jim Duggan's theme. It's just a little bit slower with no ho in the beginning.
I noticed that for the first time when the Rumble '89 Coliseum video would go off. They played his theme over because he had won the Rumble. They played his theme over some video stills there, and But yeah, here we are. It's John Studd is the referee for this matchup. Joy, Andre, and Jake out here. And I'll be damned. Sure enough, they make a referee shirt big enough to fit John, though. He's in the ring. He's wearing a referee shirt, so A for effort anyway. And the body reminds that he, too, was once a referee at some... Got to get myself over, Gorilla. So Gorilla's still trying to forget about that, Jess.
Yeah, that's... It's always funny, right, that when they had a guest referee during the blue shirt ref era, the guest ref still wore like the black and white stripes. I never understood that. I guess it's because, no, I'm a referee. You get it? Yeah, referee. Yeah. Damn it, make him look like a referee, Paul. I don't know.
Give him the stripes, pal.
Give him the stripes.
That's it.
I don't know. It's better than talking about the match, but...
well, it is. Well, unfortunately, we're here. We're at the match. John Studd in the ring, Andre in the ring. Jake Roberts tries to get into the ring, and, he doesn't have much success. The match gets going, and immediately, we all learn that somewhere along the way, Bobby Heenan, I'm going to blame, allegedly, Bobby Heenan. We don't see it on camera, but the top turnbuckle pad is missing in the corner of the ring. And Andre ramming Jake. First move of the match, really, Andre ramming Jake. Now, we've been taught that knocks people out. You can get a win with that. Mm-hmm. But Andre going to kick the match off hot here, ramming Jake face first. And Jesse, very astute. Whoa, the turnbuckle pad's gone. Like, who did that? And we do see Bobby in that corner right before it happens. But it's off to the races. And Jake, like the Rumble, he's the underdog getting in the ring. He can barely get in the ring. Andre attacks. And he's like a freaking grizzly bear. He just mauls Jake for the majority of the matchup.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? Andre should be beating the shit out of Jake Roberts from a wrestling kayfabe point of view. Jake is not really doing much. Jake never does much. George Wells kicked his ass for most of WrestleMania 2, didn't he?
He looked good doing it. I still stand on the ground that was a good match. I mean, it didn't go long. No, it was good. I enjoyed that.
And he foamed at the mouth after the DDT and the snake.
Froth. That was beautiful.
Come on now.
Excellently done. Executed excellently. Don't come after me, Brett.
No, don't be saying that now.
No, I lousy stinking hyena. I'm a double cross.
Me and Robert Redford invented that phrase, No, that's something else actually. The gorilla.
No.
Bob Orton.
I will give Andre credit here though.
Yes.
Even though it was basic offense, chops, stomps, everything, he was doing it at a pretty fast pace for Andre.
Yeah.
He's coming at Jake.
His 88 so far that we've been watching, he looks a lot better than he did in 87. I mean, Andre looks really good in 88, and I think that holds into 89.
I think so, up to this point.
Yeah, up to this point. He seemed motivated. He was always booked strong. He was never booked as like a joke, despite, some of the things that people take umbrage with, what he would do later in 89, you know what I'm talking about, and who he would fight and lose to and stuff. Right. Fine. But up to this point... I mean, he's booked very strong and like a real threat, and Jake never was booked as a threat physically in the ring. So this total sense, as far as I'm concerned, John Studd being there is a non-factor at this point so far in the match.
I think the story is as long as Jake can't get to that bag in the corner, Andre has his number. I think that's pretty much the story they're telling here, and Andre all over him. But eventually, of course, Andre the Giant going to do his favorite spot. He's going to wind up caught in the ropes. Never seen that before.
Get me out of here, boss.
Cribbage.
This is a good way to get heat on Andre or get back some revenge anyway, because Andre caught in the rope. Now it's Jake's turn to fire off some jabs. Begins choking away. Jake's been choked out for about 3 or 4 months now, so he's finally going to get some revenge. He does tease going after Damien, but John Studd will not allow it, so he's finally doing something for the first time here, John Studd. He still hasn't noticed that turnbuckle pad is missing either, I don't believe, but Bobby Heenan has helped Andre free as Jake's busy arguing with Studd, and Jake walks right into the big choke. Even bigger headbutts will follow. All of that leads to the giant trap hold of doom. Finally, Andre takes Jake back to the corner, but seemingly walks into a knee lift. I think that's what was supposed to happen here, but it doesn't look like it did. But Jake apparently was supposed to catch Andre with a short knee. That would have been great if it had actually happened. But Andre sells it like it does, so way to go, boss.
He's a pro. You got to give him that.
He's a pro.
He was a pro.
With Andre stunned, Jake seizes the opportunity, turn around is fair play. Roberts now ramming Andre into the exposed buckle. Aha, tables have turned, darkness. And for the first time in the entire match, 7 minutes into the match, Andre goes down to the ground for the first time in the bout. Jake begins to stalk after Andre, but one giant chop, sends Roberts out to the floor. Jake repeatedly trying to climb back inside. Andre keeps sending him off the apron, leading to John Studd having a heated argument with Andre about sportsmanship or some shit like that. I don't know. What do you think they were saying?
Sportsmanship. They're probably arguing about the haircut from 1985. I don't know. You're talking about how I don't like you for that.
You're still not as tall as me. Ha ha ha.
I'm bigger. I'm bigger than you. You remember that. Fuck you. I don't like you. You're fired. I fire Michael Hayes to fire you.
I like to pretend that's exactly what was said here.
I think it was, honestly.
I hope so. So while Studd and Andre argue in the ring, Jake Roberts, grabbing his snake bag, begins to walk up the ring steps. Will we see Damien here? Studd going to block Jake from entering the ring with the bag. But with his back turned, Andre attacking Big John Studd. What the fuck is that about? I'm bored. I'm going to attack. I fucking hate you, John Studd. Like, fuck this match. I'm just gonna kill
That's what it was. So this is more important. Fuck you, too big.
Fuck you. So John Studd turns around, shoving Andre right back. Meanwhile, we see Bobby Heenan wave to the back. What's he waving for there? Next thing we know, this is so random. At the time, I was like, what is that? $1 Million Man to insta-feud is what this is. I always call this insta-feud. I put a lot of thought into that. Yeah, so it's Ted DiBiase and Virgil arriving ringside. Made no sense to me at that point. In the grand scheme of things, storytelling-wise, this makes no sense at all. I mean,
nope.
I don't really get it. But DiBiase coming out to steal Damien. Apparently, he had a $1 million belt made. Maybe he wanted a pair of snakeskin boots. I don't know. Thought he might. If he steals Damien, he could save a couple bucks on the snake. I don't really know.
You thought about that more than they did, right?
Well, Dangerous Danny Davis once upon a time tried to steal Damien, and they kiboshed that immediately, that angle. But here DiBiase tries to steal the snake. Still don't know what he was going to do with him. We saw Matilda dog-napped. I'm sure you enjoyed that over there in the OVP world. I enjoyed the invisible doggy gimmick anyway. That's where Tama really got noticed right
Tama
there.
was awesome there. They also, Jimmy and the Islanders, not Jimmy, the Islanders stole Frankie also very briefly.
Oh,
or Bobby did.
Yeah, and
Bobby
Coco
ran away with
that's
Frankie.
right. Yes, that's right. On primetime, wasn't it? I think.
Yep.
Yeah. It's amazing I retain all this horse shit from all the weeks and weeks. I mean, you do too. So, I mean, you get it.
Yeah.
You totally get it. It's
what we're here to do.
So DiBiase begins to snake nap Damien. Teddy makes it halfway up the aisle before Jake catches up to him. And as Roberts unloads on the $1 Million Man, Bobby Heenan has distracted John Studd in the ring long enough for Andre to grab Studd from behind yet again. And now we've got two battles going on, and it's almost like production knew this was coming, because within 3 seconds, we get split-screen live action, which I don't think we've ever even seen before in the WWF. But it's WrestleMania, like by God, so this is what we got.
You know what's funny? It's just they gave up on the match. You said it before. They gave up on this feud and this match like a month beforehand because they're just like, you know what? Andre's going to do this. Jake's going to do this. This is what you're supposed to think. This is what we want you to think. It doesn't matter who wins the match. This match does not matter. Is Andre afraid of stakes? We don't know anymore. Just don't pay attention, you know? That's what it seems like they're doing. Insta-feud, like you said.
Insta-feud. Jake hammering away on DiBiase in the aisle. Andre choking out Studd in the ring. And Ted DiBiase running off. Jake reclaiming Damien there, bringing him back to ringside. Meanwhile, Andre continues to choke and headbutt down John Studd. Jake, though, going to make his way back to the ring and finally unleashes his hose. No, wait, that's his snake Damien in the ring. And Andre, like usual, going to run off. John Studd declaring Jake Roberts your victor by disqualification. Match goes an unnecessary 9 minutes and 35 seconds.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Well, that was being polite for the first time.
It wasn't good. Yeah, I know, right? But it was... No, it wasn't good. There's really not much to say about it. John Studd is I feel so bad because I know he died early and seems like a nice guy, but what the hell was he doing here? I don't have a problem with Andre. I don't have a problem with Jake in 89. Like, neither of them in 89. But this match sucked. I mean, this is just bad. It was just really bad.
I mean, Jake's not going to hit the short clothesline on Andre.
Right.
And I don't think Andre's capable of taking a DDT at this point, a bump like that. Probably but I would have liked to have seen a little offense from Jake here. I mean, it was just like nothing. I mean, and that's the story. Jake was okay with that. He was moving. He's like, you're telling me this is the end of this feud and I can go on to work with DiBiase? Okay, yeah, whatever you want, that's what we're going to do.
Yep.
But hardly the worst thing Andre's done in the last couple of years in the ring. Could have went a couple minutes shorter, but he did what was needed of him. And Jake, ever the psychologist in the ring, fought from underneath, the entire realism at the very least. And you could You can see, he's battling the Giant. Very little offense from the Snake, but it's over with. We got that much going for us. So clearly, though, this marks the start of two, as you just said, two brand new feuds. Jake Roberts and DiBiase, and unfortunately, Andre the Giant and John Studd.
Whew. It is worth mentioning, though, that the crowd was all the way there for this. They were into this because it's a very broad, easy thing to follow. The big guy is afraid of snakes. Okay.
Well, and it's like you said, there are certain wrestlers that people remember forever. My grandmother may not have remembered everybody's name, but she would say the guy with the snake,
right,
or the cop, Boss Man or something. She remembered the characters. And so I think that's what the fans knew. Even if the fans weren't wrestling fans, everybody knew Andre the Giant to some degree, especially in the last couple of years, as big as wrestling had blown up. But and you get over, the guy, I hope the snake comes out of the bag. That'll be cool, kind of deal. And you get to see a snake. It's it's a little bit of everything here, a sideshow, if you will, in the wrestling world. So that's pretty much it with that matchup. And I didn't particularly care for it. I don't know if you liked it very much, Joe, but Sean Mooney up in the cheap seats up there, he's interviewing some random guy. I don't know where they found this guy, but he wants to know what this guy's take is on this entire match. And this guy he is a soundbite by himself, right? I mean, do you remember what he said? I mean, it's very hard to recall, but I'm going to see if you know.
Well, it's very intricate, it's very detailed, but I believe it is something like, Jake's the best, Jake's the best, Jake's the best. Something like that?
Yeah, something like that. I think so.
Right? I might have missed a word or two.
No, yeah, Jake's the best. I think he said it one more time off camera, but so that was fun. It was interesting, because they had Sean throughout the night kind of just randomly sometimes in the fans, but they couldn't have booked that better, right? They couldn't have planned that one better.
And also a better interview than the one Mooney did with Donald Trump, on Mooney's side.
By far.
Yeah.
This guy did better than Sean tonight. I'll give him that much credit. So. All right, and right before we wrap up with Joe, because I got to respect his time, and we do have a couple other guests to get to. I appreciate you being on here, Joe. We'll talk a little bit more after this, but before we close up, we get this really interesting interview from someone who's not participating in a match here tonight, but she is apparently in the arena. And right now we're going to go off to Tony Schiavone. Love you, Tony. And he's going to talk with the Sensational Sherri. All right, Sensational, she says, unlike that girl who tried to sing out here earlier. Sherri came up with that line before. I mean, they might have recorded this before Robin went out there to sing, but no, that was rough, right? That was rough line to hit her with.
The scoff. The scoff. Rockin' Robin.
She wrestles as good as she sings, says Sensational Sherri here. And then before she promises eventually she will regain the ladies title. Gonna have to put that on hold because Robin won't be here much longer with the company, unfortunately, and the belt goes with her.
Damn.
Now on to another piece of business, though. Sherri said they're talking about the lovely Miss Elizabeth. You think you're beautiful, but Sherri is hot stuff. Vicious is the sensational one, laughing, scoffing at the fact that the Mega Powers, Elizabeth's Mega Powers, will explode here tonight. Why do you think she has such deep interest in this Mega Powers exploding deal?
Yeah, that's very interesting. The last time we prominently heard from her was Royal Rumble, when she was just kind of commenting on the Judy Martin Rockin' Robin match, right? And she was like, I'm better than all of them, therefore I'll win, or whatever. And then all of a sudden, where did this come from? What is her problem with is this jealousy? I mean, what does she have to do with Hulk Hogan? She's never had anything to do with Hulk Hogan or Randy Savage or Elizabeth. Very interesting, as they say. Very interesting, right?
Well, we know Elizabeth is not cut out to be a wrestler, so that can't be it. And even they even had a debate recently on the face-to-face, the primetime, Robin and Sherri. They don't talk about their feud. They talk about whose corner Elizabeth will be in. Of course, we've learned she's going to be in the neutral corner, ho-hum. But very interesting. They just kind of work Sherri in here. Looking forward to seeing what happens coming out of this pay-per-view.
Yeah, interesting.
Indeed.
And Elizabeth Switzerland over there in the neutral corner. So interesting.
Well, that there you go. It's not Hewlett. It's Switzerland.
Switzerland.
She's Swiss.
Yes,
I'm a bit Swiss. Can you be Swiss? Scotch Swiss? I don't know. All right, guys. I think it's getting a little long now, so I'm not going to keep Joe a whole lot longer. But that was a great time, man. Appreciate kind of joining forces, crossing over here with the OVP world, man, to get a little bit going here. Part of the WrestleMania 5 Part 2 here. It's we got a long way to go. I got my brother still coming up. Brian R. Solomon going to join us before too long. We're going to talk about the Mega Powers match there. So we've got some other special guests still to arrive. But Joe, man, I appreciate you so much for doing this with me, man. When I reached out, I know you're a busy fella, but I appreciate you, giving me a couple hours of your night. And we went a little longer than Piper and them, but I feel like we had more fun. So
I think we had more fun. Thank you so much for asking me, Ray. It really was a fun time. I mean that. Hope people had fun with us making the Piper and Downey and Brother Love segment better than it was, like you said.
There are many times I'll toot my own horn, but to quote Arn Anderson, toot toot.
Toot,
I
toot.
feel like we made it through there, and I don't know that I could have made it through there without you, man. So I certainly appreciate that, man. I'll never forget that.
You got it right now. I would give you the Mega Powers handshake through the screen here. You know what I'm saying?
But they're exploding tonight. I don't know if that's.
Well,
I don't know if it's good. Well,
so
the
is
new
Jake.
Mega Powers, right?
Jake's exploding too, but in a
He
different
is.
way.
He's in a very different way, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, I appreciate you being here, man. Remember, guys, it's our Vantage Point, the OVP podcast, all kinds of good stuff going on there in the summer of '88 right now. And we covered that on the Grenade, but they do it. They have a great time going back and forth, really funny stuff. And I mean, they dissect it just the same. And you guys watch it, so everybody can go check it out and kind of watch the video and laugh along and everything like that. So it's always a good time, the OVP world, coming over to the WrestleCopia world for the night. Yeah. And we certainly appreciate it, man. We hope, someday it'll happen again, man.
Thank you so much, Ray. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.